Hi everyone, it's Scott here from That's English School 英語研究プロジェクトよくある間違いを分析します25年間ずっと日本で英会話を教えてますでもね、必ずというほど皆さん同じ間違いをしますね例えば今回のテーマ narrow の使い方とかですね細かいところまでいろいろと話しちゃいますね皆さんが理解できるまで話します So grab yourself a cuppa and let's deep dive into the use of narrow First, let's look at the problem My room is narrow My room is narrow. When I first heard this sentence, I must admit I was kind of confused. In Japan, people often use the word narrow to describe these things. A narrow apartment, a narrow garden, a narrow bed, a narrow venue, a narrow space. But in all these cases, you can't use the word narrow.Let's investigate the reasons why. We can use narrow as an adjective, a verb, or a noun. But first, let's talk about using it as an adjective, because this is the way most Japanese people are using it. Please pay close attention to this part. It's the most important part of the lesson.So the word narrow in English means a small width in relation to its length. So it basically means long and thin. We use it for things like a narrow road, a narrow river, a narrow gap, a narrow space. So if you say, my room is narrow, then it means this.We can also use narrow as a verb. It means to become or make less wide. The road narrowed as it crossed the bridge. The salary gap between men and women is narrowing. We can also use narrow as a noun, but this is only used for a channel connecting two bodies of water. I got on the ferry across the narrows of Loch Fyne.So Loch Fyne is a lovely place on the west coast of Scotland. It's well known for its fresh rock oysters and salmon. So what's the solution to this problem? Well, you've probably realized by now that you have to be careful how to use the word narrow. So it's really quite simple. Just say small or similar words. My apartment is really small.My bed is tiny. I love small spaces. It may seem funny at first, but believe me, that's the only way to express it. Let's look at some other ways to express it. The first one is cramped. This is when you don't have enough space. It's the perfect word for a small apartment in somewhere like Tokyo. Can't swing a cat. Yes, imagine holding a cat by the tail and swinging it around.It's a funny expression, but people use it. Minuscule. This means tiny. Compact. This is a more positive sounding way to say small. It sounds more practical and easy to use. Let's take a look at 5 example sentences. The first one is this. My friend's house is so small, when I first saw it,I thought it was a doll's house. Okay, well maybe I'm exaggerating. Just a little bit.
Can we have the party at your house?
No way. My place is way too cramped to have people over. So, to have people over means to invite people to your house. One of the advantages of having a tiny apartment is that cleaning is a cinch. Of course, if something is a cinch,then it's really easy. The road in front of my house is so narrow, I have to walk like a crab to go to the shops. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating just a tad. Doraemon loves living in Nobita's cramped cupboard. He says he likes the privacy. I guess it's kind of like in Harry Potter, he also lived in a cramped cupboard under the stairs. So the next time you go to use the word narrow, think again and try and use some of the phrases we talked about today. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.